Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies, located in Melbourne, Florida. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as Docking Bay 94 in Boca Raton, Florida. Check us out on comicsandgames.com. And remember, you too could get your comics shipped to your door. And Ian's Display and Accessories, the best figure stands for iconic Hasbro and Kenner Star Wars action figures. Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Codenamed New to Hero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Now, normally when I do comic recaps, I'm not in front of the camera, so this is actually a special episode. We are marking the end of the epic 10-issue saga known as Snake Hunt from legend Larry Hama. Now, the reason why I'm in front of the camera is because this issue was a surprise to me. Now, I'm friends with a lot of the G.I. Joe artists that work on A Real American Hero. And when Nito Diaz and Atkins were both the illustrators for this issue, a light bulb didn't go off in my head until I actually got the issue, and then it dawned on me why. And the reason for that is it is a silent issue. Yeah, G.I. Joe is the one who introduced the silent issue into the comic world. I have argued with these teeny boppers and these modern comic guys that G.I. Joe issue number 21 is probably one of the top 5 most significant issues in the modern era. I mean, debate me if I'm wrong here, right? G.I. Joe, the comic series, is so impactful for the Gen X age group that led on to what I think was the comic explosion towards the end. And we see guys like Todd McFarlane, Liefields, all these guys that attributed G.I. Joe as the reasons of why they've become famous. So remember that issue number 21 was the first most iconic issue in G.I. Joe as far as the silent issue. The next one, and I covered this in an episode with our good friend Hooded Cobra Commander 788, is issue number 85. Now, this issue often gets overlooked because, you know, it's number 2. But if you read it and rediscover it, it holds up in its own right. There are different elements in it that make it worthwhile and able to stand on its own merits. Now, in the recent comic IDW run, there's been issue number 214. And I also covered that, and that is the funeral for the original Snake Eyes. And it's a very emotional issue as the entire G.I. Joe team says goodbye to the icon known as Snake Eyes. Now, this issue is a silent issue, and usually Larry Hama holds that off for something significant. I don't know if there's more to it, because this is totally a surprise to me, that maybe down the road we'll see, or what's going on internally. I have no idea. But this very well could be Larry Hama's last silent issue. I'm not trying to set off alarm bells, but Larry has hinted retirement for a while now. So that's why this issue deserves me being in front of the camera and talking to you guys. And I think that deserves a little bit of acknowledgement in itself. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. The fact that, you know, like I said, this could be Larry's last silent issue is a moment to appreciate it for whatever it's worth. I mean, there's going to be positives and negatives, as you'll see when I go through it. And, you know, since I started this comic, you know, reintroducing G.I. Joe comics, it's been a journey, and I've befriended a lot of you. I've become integrated into the community and working with having guys like Hooded Cobra Commander, 3D Joes, all these Timmer from Half the Battle, all befriend me and work together as a team. That enough is a reward in itself. So I wanted to also point out that if you've noticed, I've done some look at Transformers and review of the classifieds, toys. And I have two that came recently. So I was finally able to pick up Roadblock and Scarlet. Now I'm going to do a full review of these later on, but I just wanted to point out something. Like, a lot of people have been hard on these retro figures, and rightfully so, because mostly they're the reissues of the 50th anniversary. And if you watch like all those Hasbro Pulse stuff, it's just been bogus bullshit saying, oh, this is new, whatever. It's not new. But in the case of Scarlet, it is new. And here's the 25th anniversary edition. And here's that. I know you can't see it, but when you watch the real video, when I do the review of it, you'll see the face sculpt was actually a vast improvement than the 25th anniversary line. Again, stay tuned for that full in-depth that I usually do. And I go into the history of it, as well as a little bit of the character, something like Hooded Cobra Commander and Form BX257, they're more better at giving you the full history of a character or vehicle. So I just kind of present my videos to fill in the gap and put in the modern era that's attached with the character or vehicle. So that's the angle that I come from. But I'm actually really impressed with this Scarlet. I think this is probably one of the best Scarlets in the, I think it's way better than the classified one that I have over there. But yeah, this so far, I'm really impressed with it. So again, another thing is, I wanted to point out that what makes this storyline so important. And these are all the 10 issues in various covers that I've collected for this and to bring to you guys to enjoy. And overall, it's a mixed bag. So there's some good and some bad. And that's okay. The bottom line is it was entertaining. And that's what I take away from it. Now, it's a silent issue, so I'm not going to be doing any talking or very little talking to take away from the impact or how it was meant to be. So I'm going to start off by recapping the issue. And we have Snake Eyes, who is Sean Collins, Wade Collins' son. He's been apprehended by Cobra, thinking that he's the original Snake Eyes. And if you guys remember in my other videos, G.I. Joe wanted to keep the death of Snake Eyes a secret from the enemy and from the rest of the world. So Sean, being the last brother trained by Snake Eyes himself, the last brother of Ashikaga clan, has taken up the mantle of Snake Eyes. And there's also another Snake Eyes, the female Dawn Marino, who has Snake Eyes memories downloaded into her brain. So she's walking around with the original Snake Eyes conscious thanks to Dr. Mindbender and his brainwave scanner. They found this female child prodigy, and they wanted to give her the ultimate edge by giving all of Snake Eyes ability that they had uploaded from Snake Eyes in the Marvel run. So she's went to the good side, and so they call them the Sword Brothers. Sean and Dawn are known as the New Era Sword Brothers. So anyway, Sean has been taken to Springfield in custody, and the government has not authorized any use of official vehicles or personnel to rescue Snake Eyes. Let's just call him Snake Eyes for this portion of it. So the entire G.I. Joe team is converging on their own using like vans, and even Candy's van has been brought back because Stalker is leading that group to rescue, join the effort to rescue Snake Eyes. And Zartan and the Dreadnoks are actually helping. They've joined G.I. Joe. Destro and the Baroness have joined G.I. Joe. There's this whole, it's kind of a celebration of the honor that Snake Eyes had. Regardless if he was friend or foe, he commanded that type of respect. So they're doing all of this, and remember, Destro is an honorable man to begin with. So they're doing this out of respect. The October Guard is even in on this. So all of these parties are converged onto Springfield to spring Snake Eyes / Sean Collins out. So, of course, Snake Eyes / Sean Collins has broken out. He's actually escaped the clutches of Cobra. And there's a female CG named Laura. And again, you have to watch my earlier episodes, who Cobra just treats like shit. But I'm actually surprised there's a female CG out there. So that's what makes this interesting. She's a really good character that I hope gets developed a little bit down the road. So we're going to also check out that. So I guess through some friendly fire, she gets hit, and Snake Eyes is actually taking care of her and putting a value on her life. And she's seeing this and like, I'm on the wrong side. So we're going to see her kind of like switch sides. Now, Cobra has already like kind of laid a trap out for everybody. And these guys literally, the G.I. Joe team and friends, have to actually blast their way out of this in order to escape Springfield. So this silent issue is going to kind of like narrow down the scope to how each individual is fighting this off and how they're going to escape with their lives out of Springfield. And that will be the conclusion of this story, epic 10-issue story. I've never seen a 10-issue story arc. That in itself is crazy. Because, you know, you had to know the ending from the very beginning. I remember this all started before this plague of COVID. So this thing has kept on going, took a couple breaks here and there. And then finally, you know, as the year ends, we're finally putting an end to this and looking forward to the new storyline and the future of G.I. Joe. So there's a lot of things up in the air, and that's why I think that this silent issue deserves a little bit of respect and a time to reflect. So without further ado, let's look at the 10th issue of Snake Hunt. Here we go. As with every recap, we look at the cover variants, and this is cover A. I also got the RIA version, and you'll see why in a second. I really like this one, and the RIA is with Jagdish Kumar and my good friend John Royal. I love his artwork. If you don't, please follow him on Instagram. But man, this is an awesome cover, and I love John's depiction of the Baroness as well. He just has a knack for that. Oh, and I'd be remiss to say that the whole reason why they captured Sean Collins is to hook him up to the brainwave scanner. Cobra wanted to reprogram him to, wreak havoc on the G.I. Joe and their enemies, so basically making the ultimate weapon, but that plan backfired. At the end of issue 274, Sean, aka Snake Eyes, has rendezvoused with the Arashikage clan and the Air Team. Basically, they've been cornered by Cobra Commander, who essentially sent his troops on a suicide mission. He wants to blow everyone up. The Arashikage clan realize their only way out is through the Sea of Cobra troopers. Meanwhile, outside, the vast majority of the G.I. Joe team have combined with Zartan and the Dreadnoks, Destro and the Baroness, as well as the October Guard, and they are completely surrounded by Cobra. It looks hopeless. They form a wagon trail, so we got fighting on the outside and the inside of Springfield Convention Center and Hospital, as both parties are combating Cobra and trying to rendezvous, and we have Zartan leading the charge on his division. At the same time, the G.I. Joe team was able to get the heavies off of their trailers, and they were able to steal a Mobat and a Mauler tank from the pit. And we finally see that Laura, the female CG, has come to and realized whose side she wants to be on. And she joins the fight on the G.I. Joe side. And a very iconic classic image of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow together again. Even though that's not the original Snake Eyes, but still it's kind of cool to see them together again. As you can see, there is a lot of action going on, and I think Larry's choice in making this a silent issue makes a lot of sense. Words would just take away from all that is going on. All of this is much bigger than Marvel issue 50, The Invasion of Springfield. The fighting in this issue is more intimate, a lot of hand-to-hand, and who better in that style than a clan of ninjas? What we've seen is both the Air Team and Arashikage clan literally fight their way to the outside. So now we have two opposite parties facing off in one epic battle. It's cool that in the end, Destro, Baroness, and the Iron Grenadiers flew in to save the day, because it was just a matter of time before the Joes and their associates would be overtaken. And it's cool seeing Joes like Tunnel Rat jump on the back of the Dreadnought's bike to ride out of town. Mission accomplished, and Sean is greeted by his father's Wade in a loving embrace. Remember, Wade joined up with his old buddy Stalker to help free his boy. Guys, I'm feeling a little bittersweet. I've been covering modern G.I. Joe comics for the last 2 years, and I just feel that this is the beginning of the end of the Larry Hama era of G.I. Joe comics. So while I'm excited for the next story arc, I want old and new fans to realize what just happened and what it could mean later down the road. I thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you on the next Joe comic recap as we shift to the Paul Lore series and Rob Liefeld's Snake Eyes story. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned. This is Shabu Are You, signing off.